I feel that just all too many people are superstitious about religion. And trust me, Christians are as superstitious about religion as you can get. I mean, they just have a real superstition about religion. And it's kind of like learning nursery rhymes. You know, Old Mother Hubbard and, Grimm's fairy tales. And it's almost in that category, you know. They have about as much proof or logic to believe what they believe as they do in these fairy tales. You can't persuade them otherwise. Many years ago, it must have been, I don't know, 35 years ago, somebody on the street gave me this poster. Can you see it? Can you make out what it is? No? Well, anyway, here's an old man, here's an older man, and here's a young sweetheart here. Okay? This man looks like about, 80, close to 100, maybe late 20s, early 30s. This is this is Jesus Christ, this is God the Father, and this is the Holy Spirit. This is as serious as could be. It's called The Comet Comes. And they talk about Halley's Comet then, and then they go into the signs of the end of the world. And it's put out by some Church of God, Pentecostal Church of God. For some, I don't know why, I rolled that thing up and I stuck it in a drawer someplace, and after 30 years, it was about 7, 8 years ago or whenever, I found it. But I know why I kept this now. This is typical Christianity. This is superstitious junk. This has nothing to do with the Scriptures or reality. This is nonsense. But this person handed me, thinking they were giving me a treasure on God and the universe, and it's like, what? The Holy Spirit is a bleached blonde girl with a see-through negligee? I mean, the Father doesn't know what's going on? I mean, not only is it nonsense, it's blasphemy. I'll never part with that. Now this is more what you see when you look through the looking glass. Here's what you see, okay? Y'all recognize that from our site? The sombrero, galaxy. Whoops, upside down. How can it be upside down? There's no such thing as upside down in outer space. But that's the way it's presented. I want to expand our minds a little bit, because if God made us, He made the universe. Because there's direct parallels. It isn't like, well, maybe He made us, but then somebody else or something else made the universe. No, He made it all. God made it all. And if we really can begin to think in larger terms about God, I mean, you've got to get this junk out of your head. God is not an old man who sits on a throne like Abraham Lincoln in the Lincoln Memorial. That is not God. God does not sit on a throne. That's a symbol of power and sovereignty. He does not sit because He's tired of standing. You've got to get all physical concepts out of your head about God. But that doesn't mean that what He's made doesn't have some spiritual counterparts. We'll just talk a little bit about some of these things today, just to perk your interest a little bit. But this stuff is awesome. This galaxy right here looks like this when you get further away. And when you get a little further away, it looks like this one down here. See that little one? Can't see it in the back of the room. How big is that? Wow. Yeah. When you step back in space, it's a little tiny speck. And if you get back a little further, you can't even see the speck. So let's say we backed up a couple light years, and now it's only this big. See that? How long would it take you to go from this side of that speck all the way over to this side? All right, if you were to travel in a spaceship at 700 million miles an hour, 700 million miles an hour, to get from here to here at 700 million miles an hour would take 100,000 years. To go from here to here at 700 million miles an hour. So how far do you think it is from here to here? You could put probably in one star, because our star is a dwarf. It's called a yellow dwarf. You put 1,000 of our suns in some stars. And our sun is thousands of times bigger than the earth. How many of you have ever walked around the earth? Even the earth is like, for us, is pretty big. It's a long walk from here to Oregon, isn't it? Boy, I tell you, you ain't going to do it on one pair of shoes. God made that. And a billion more that we know of. Now this furthest light, they say, is about 15 billion light years away. 15 billion. Traveling 700 million miles an hour for 15 billion years. What? What are you talking about? These are awesome figures. And how much is that compared to space? So space has no end. How can it not have an end? Everything has an end, a beginning and an end. How can it not have an end? How can something go on forever? You can't conceive of that. The human brain balks at it. You can't. You stop. It's the sort of thing you can only think about for about 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, and then you stop. You will not think. You know what? Because your brain shuts down. You can't conceive of it. Can't conceive of eternity. And it's just like I've said, I don't think the Christian lives who ever meditated on being tortured in hellfire for more than 6 or 7 seconds. If somebody tells me that they've meditated on being actual tortured in hell for a minute, I'll call him a liar to his face. I will call him a liar to his face. I'm not saying you didn't think about the subject of hell for a minute or hours or days or even most of your life. I'm talking about the eternity of being tortured endlessly. Tortured, never, ever ending. Trillions and trillions and trillions. And thought about that for 60 seconds? No way. Your brain shuts down. So, we want to get this out of your head. So take a good look at it. It's gone. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the creator of this and a billion more. Okay. And it wasn't an old man who's stroking his beard and wondering where it all went wrong. You know. Okay, let's take a 10-minute break. Come back. Okay.